Right, so I want to fix up some of these textures. First of all, there's no roof texture, but also, like, these walls look kind of plain. So let's go into the shading tab, and this is wall, so I'm gonna add some areas of that are like darker, so that's just gonna be a noise. And then a mix RGB. Or overlay, I'm gonna go with multiply. Okay, that's good enough. We can probably add the same thing to wall 2. Now let's just add like a Musgrave to the height. I think that should be fine, and then just Control T object. There's probably a better way to do this than to copy and paste everything from one material to another. Okay. Right, so looking much better on the walls now. For the frame, I'm just going to use like noise on the roughness and another noise on the color. And a clamp will just like restrict the values. So like if I put like 0.3 here, if it detects something below 0.3 in the texture, then it will bring it up to 0.3. And then if it's in this range, then it will stay as is. And then likewise, if I set this to 0.6, if it detects something above 0.6, like 0.8, then it's going to bring it down to 0.6. I think 0.5, 0.6 to 0.9 maybe. And for the most part, it's better to lift up a color amp instead of using a clamp. But in some cases, a clamp is fine. And then I'll probably add noise color amp to this one as well. Let's actually have a look at what color I was using. So if you go over to the hex value, you can just use that for another color somewhere else. And then that's the exact same color that we had here. I want this one to be slightly different, otherwise there's no point in having the color amp. I'm gonna use a wave texture for the bump. That looks relatively fine. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay. Let's fix up the frame because it didn't really do that very well. That might be better. This is going to be really small, so I mean, we could add a material to this. It's probably better to do so. I guess we can add a fairly basic roof texture as well. But I guess I can change this to that. And then maybe add some bump. And I think we're pretty much done with the building. So maybe tile this a bit more, this curb. I think for mine I used something like this. I mean, again, like I said, you might want to use separate bricks. Yeah, it looks okay. So you want to make sure that you unhide your cutouts now. This is actually my second time recording this because first time I failed to unhide these cutouts. So after you unhide your cutouts, you can go into top view mode, wireframe mode, and then select everything, or at least as far as the building is concerned, select everything, deselect the sun there, and I'm going to go Shift D X, and then RZ -90, and then you want a little bit of distance in between here because there's going to be a road going through here. Let's see how that looks if I unhide the cutouts. Looks good. Let's set up our camera. And let's make sure we have our ground plane kind of like right below the curb there. And then in order to get a curved curb, the key is to realize that that one of the edges needs to be beveled. So if I face select mode, go extrude this out, and then select this face, extrude that out. If I select this edge here, and then press Control, I'm going to go into solid view mode, so that if I select this edge here and then press Control B, and then just drag out, you can see how that's just adding that bevel. And then if I scroll up, you can see that it's becoming more curved. I'm probably going to do the same thing on this side. This is going to ruin the topology a little bit, but this isn't a character. We're not rigging this. For the curb here, we can just select this face here and then Control select this other face, and then we can just duplicate that, and then let's move it up. Let's separate it into its own object, and then solidify, apply the scale, this top edge loop, move it down. Seeing this intersecting issue, but to deal with that, we can just scale that in a little bit. So we're almost done now. I'm just gonna apply the scale on both of these. Maybe add a bevel here. And just apply both modifiers there. Let's Smart UV project both of these objects. And just apply the sidewalk texture and the curb texture, and let's go into the UV editor. Let's go into the UV editor here, and then just scale these up. Okay, well, it's misaligned. Okay, I guess that's fine. And now what we can do is subdivide this a bunch of times. And we can just add a road texture to this plane. So I'm going to add occlusion, color, normal, GL, and roughness. And let's just call this road. And 20, maybe 35, maybe 45. Now we can add in a sky texture. So if you go into the environment settings here and then click on this little color here and then set this to sky texture, we can go back into the layout mode. By default, the strength is way too strong for this, so I like setting mine to 0.2. And maybe around there. Alright, so that's mostly it. For when I was doing mine, I just added some weight paint into this area. We subdivide a bit more. Three. So that I could get the grass into this area. And then I just used like some prop pack, which I'll link in the description, to and then added some props. I added like this little electrical thing. I don't know what it's called actually, over here, and then like some benches. All right, thank you for watching.